It's sad because this will work itself out. It's sad because when I founded this label, I founded it to do 50-50 artist-friendly deals. Super artist-friendly, 50-50 partnerships with artists. You know what I mean? Nobody was doing that. I don't know if anyone's still doing that, but somehow he's found a way to change that. And I'm not cool with it. And I'm not, I don't want anything to do with Kevin Zinger or any of his entities. I don't do business like that. I don't operate like that as a human being. And that just is what it is. And I guess these are the things that define our character. You know? Because I've been left with no choice. Because there's only two ways to go with this. You know, and I got a family. I appreciate my freedom, so I'm going to go the legal route and do it the right way. My intention is to make sure if Subnoise owes any artist money, I want to make sure they get paid. KOTTONMOUTH Kings is owed money, I want to make sure they get paid. Pretty simple.
Okay. I
need the books to verify that the artists are being paid. Now, this is going on for 8 months. I haven't been getting the books. They've been getting little pieces of the books here and there, oh, here and this. I've had to hire, so I hire some lawyers to help me get the books. Still don't get the books. There's a fucking problem. You understand this? I own the company. I found a label. Now, I'm not getting access to the books of the company I own? What the fuck are you hiding? Everything I'm finding doesn't look good. Everything I'm finding says no good. Money's going to the wrong places. People aren't getting paid. Fuck, it's all bad. It's all bad. That's where we're at.
Okay, so that's the current standing of the situation, is that the lawsuit is in the process of being filed?
Lawsuit is in the process of being filed. I've given this person, my partner, former manager, every opportunity to make this right, to give me the books. Look, I just want to fix this problem. I have an obligation to the artist. I'm ready to move on in life, start a new label, whatever I want to do. I don't want to do it with you because I don't trust you, you know?
Okay.
I can't do business with somebody I don't trust.
So, real quick, I just want to clear up some things that I said last video. Thing about Pac and Saint Dog faking their deaths was just it was just a hook to get people interested in the video. So none of that's true. I just want to put that one out there because that one's just like absolutely ridiculous. It was a joke. It was not meant to be taken serious. So anybody who got offended by that or was upset about that, I apologize. But I just wanted to make sure I set the record clear here. I wasn't, I don't get a lot of views, so I really didn't think anybody was going to watch this last video. So, but since you guys did, I did post in the comments, and I also am saying it now. Also, the next thing I wanted to say is that the last thing we just heard was Daddy X saying, I can't do business with somebody I don't trust. And we got to realize that that's probably the state of what's going on right now with all of them, including D-Loc and Richter, and why they can't even produce tracks together. What we got to now understand is that we need to just move on with what happened. We gotta be happy for the years that we had, and support the people now that we want to continue to support. I'm completely okay with supporting both. I understand that KOTTONMOUTH Kings is the label that we're trying to support, and we want to listen to KOTTONMOUTH Kings music. D-Loc had a good point, but I'm going to kind of expand on this point here.
We were all at MTV. We had a rap jam. We had doing the best. We were underground. We were doing it, bro. We was on top of the underground. We were the We Spoken band. We were that band. we were drawing tickets.
Right.
We were selling out. We was a weed smoking fucking underground band representing weed, and everybody knew it around the nation. MTV, we had mainstream play, and we had underground strength. We had mainstream respect, and we had underground respect. We had all that shit, and we were doing it. There was no other band like Time Out represent marijuana. You know what I'm saying? And said we took that on, and so we Dirtball came in, and we started changing the sound a little bit, and then D-Lo, you know, there's like songs I'm not even on those records. I'm like, but you're labeling a Cottonmouth Kings, I'm not on it. I'm like, how's that happen? Like, so there's this phase of the band, and I'm like, okay, well.
You know, so, I mean, that's it. There's just phases of the band, and exactly what he said. You know, they were out there promoting weed, trying to promote the legalization and get it changed, and you know what? Look at where we're at now. I'm not saying it's solely because of the movement, but let's be real, like, the fact it was so big that caused a disruption, you know? And I mean, having Main Street people doing it in between having underground, like, they were a part of the movement, and we can't knock them for that. And just because they sacrificed themselves for us, I mean, in a way, take a look, you know? They went out there, they did their thing for as long as they possibly could. Now that weed is starting to become legalized and it's starting to become more of a thing, just like alcohol. I mean, I think if they have to split, or they have to do whatever they have to do to be happy, you know, we should just let them do it. Their goal ultimately was conquered. They did it. You know, we can't like knock them for that. There's no reason to bring them down or make them feel bad, or like, because this and this. I mean, we might as well allow them to do what they need to do. Now, if D-Lo owns Kottonmouth Kings, then D-Lo owns Kottonmouth Kings. It is what it is. If he wants to use that label, it's not like people aren't wondering where Johnny Richter is. It's not like people don't know where he is. Like nobody said anything and he's quiet or whatever. And it's only D-Lo. Like, he's out there, he's doing his thing, and he's got people he's with. You know, now it's up to D-Lo to be able to keep whatever fans that he needs. You know, whatever fans he can keep is what's gonna happen. Same thing with Richter. You know, and I understand that the time has passed where Kottonmouth Kings may be over as what we imagine it to be in our heads, but we got to just remember that just keep supporting. If it happened in the past where you had memories, hold on to those. Don't let them go. Just remember that, you know, there was a time where this was something that was huge and big, and now we have to move on, and we have to just be grateful and thankful for what we did have, and the like how much they actually did get done. You know, they've really, between everybody, all the mainstream and everybody, like, they've really put a lot of work and effort into getting everything legalized so that it's more free for us in the United States, at least, and around the world too. So you know, just keep supporting the person that you want to support, and, you know, hopefully in the future maybe they can do features with each other. Maybe it won't be a whole album, but we can't expect them to just jump right back into it, especially when you're living on the road with each other for so long. You just got to remember, we did have good times with them, and they kind of like sacrificed their relationship so that we could have a better freedom smoking weed, and just all the things that come with that. So I want to put a big thank you out to them for everything that they did, and putting their lives, their backgrounds and stuff on the line for us to be able to do what we do today, obviously. So I'm going to continue on with this video and move on. The basic point is that, you know, let's just cherish the memories that we have and support the guys who did give us those memories, whether it's good or bad. And it's all a learning experience. You know, D-Loc, obviously, you know, Richter and King Click, I'm pretty sure have Zinger, SRH and stuff, so Zinger's a part of it. Zinger knows how to do all the business and sending out CDs and making sure it's all done. Like, he has experience with that. We got to remember that D-Loc doesn't. So give D-Loc a little bit of time. I know that it's one or two or whatever albums here that have been a little bit different. Hopefully in the future he's learning and it gets better with time as he does it. But I'm going to continue out this video here.
Suburban Noise is our own independent label. It's just about like self-empowerment and giving ourselves a platform to put out the music the way that we want to put it out, uncensored to the people. Cottonmouth Kings DJ Bobby B, 99 Risks Beyond, we put that record out. He has a new record coming out. If you never checked out, every time the Cottonmouth Kings play and the music you hear before the Kings come on, that was Bobby B's record, 99 Risks Beyond. You see the Tax Man at all the Cottonmouth Kings shows, all purpose dog. You see him, he's in the Corporate Avenger. Pakalika, the Masked Man, is gonna speak in the year 2001. We got an EP coming out. So you guys will hear Pakalika. He's a pretty sick-minded individual. Corporate Avenger, the New Testament out. He's got a whole movie that really explains a lot more about him. It's just been a great blessing to be able to go across the country and bring all the Suburban Noise artists out here and let everyone check out and see what's going down with all these artists you probably never would have heard of, you know. So it's just been a great experience. We're definitely thankful and grateful for all the support and all the, you know, all the people who really, you know, got behind what we're doing and gotten involved with what we're doing. Everyone pitches in. Doug Carrion from Suburban Noise Records. He used to be in a band called The Descendants, which I met years and years ago. Kevin Zinger runs SRH, and we kind of manages all the bands on Suburban Noise.
The Grammys, the MTV Music Awards, fuck all that shit.
Me and D-Lo grew up in the same town as Johnny Richter. We all grew up in the same town. And when they graduated from high school, I met them through, like, we had the same basketball coach named Will Perry, man, one of the funniest dudes you'll ever meet.
You're sitting on the road, and yo, this is on and cracking. You know what I'm saying? Like hot butter popcorn.
He used to always bring D-Loc and them up to LA where I was living, and they wanted to always get into the clubs and go to the concerts. They used to help us roadie, pass out flyers, do all this stuff. I heard these guys rapping all the time, so I said, let's do this thing, put together. Put the beats together, I'll fucking book the shows, we'll handle all that stuff, because we already had all that going with the Artist Group Network, and SRH does the same thing in San Diego. One thing led to another, we wrote more songs, started doing shows, thought, hey man, we're gonna try and release this. At that point, it was about self-empowerment for us, so we started Suburban Noise Records, you know, to release the Cottonmouth Kings record, and then eventually Tulu, Dogboy, Corporate Avenger, Bobby B, and everything else we got coming out in the future. You know, we feel really grateful and thankful. We think that the people validate the music at the end of the day. We don't have mainstream distribution and all this kind of stuff. We're an independent. A lot of our records are pushed through the internet. You know, people can order them at merch.com. You know, can't find a lot of Suburban Noise records in stores. It's hard to get distribution like that if you're not going through a major chain. You know, I mean, you find the Cottonmouth Kings, but we got distribution deals through Capitol. So we're about to roll into the Royal Highness phase in the documentary. Check out some of those videos from the first Cottonmouth Kings record. Obviously, Same Dog, who you'll see in these videos, was such a major part of the Cottonmouth Kings, is no longer with the group. Basically, we just kind of hit a fork in the road. He's doing his own solo record with his brother Haas. Johnny Richter came back into the Cottonmouth Kings, and he's an original member. You know, that's what's going on.
First it's stormy, then it's sunny. And when you think you know what's next, a curveball hits you, life's a test. People come, people go. Lessons learned are lessons shown. Cause life is fast, and then it's gone. So have a blast, man, where's my bar?
That Kevin Zinger was throwing, I wanted, me nor my band members wanted to be within 100 miles of that event. We love Pakalika. We're devastated when he passed away. We had a ceremony for Pakalika. So him trying to play in the public like we didn't go to Kevin Zinger's fucking SRH fucking party you threw? No, fuck, we didn't go. Hell no. I know what kind of turmoil he caused between us and Pakalika. Our relationship with Pakalika is our relationship. You know what I mean? We rode with him for 15 years. We had our issues. Most of them were financial. Most of them had to do with some of the issues I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I'm not going to speak on the man, and he's no longer around to talk about him. I'll say one thing, that we were devastated when Pakalika passed. We're still devastated. We love Pakalika. We love his family. We cherish our time we spent together. And if somebody's trying to spin that for some weird psychological fucking whatever this dude is doing, it's right in line with everything else. But for him to even bring Pakalika into this, in his passing, to me, is just, that's out of bounds. You know what I mean? That's like, that shows you who you're dealing with.
Okay. One of the other things that seemed to kind of become one of the big talking points about this dispute, just in the world of your fans and everybody who's paying attention to this, public conflict, one of the things that really kind of took off and became a big talking point was the rumor that Kevin Zinger had slept with your wife. Now, he lashed out in his public statement saying that was a rumor that you had purposefully started for, and he didn't explain the reason behind thinking that. But, first of all, is there any validity to that rumor in the first place?
To tell you the truth, I it's funny. I don't, of course, I have a lot of respect and honor for my wife. You know what I mean? I'm not going to disrespect her like that, I don't think there's any truth to that. I don't care if there's any truth to that, because that's just a distraction from what the facts are. Where are the fucking books? I don't want to hear about my wife. I don't want to hear about Pakalika. I don't want to hear about Taxman. I want to hear, where are the fucking books? It's just a distraction. It's a smoke screen. Everything is a distraction from what's really going on here.
Okay.
It's not about some drama and fucking gossip and rumors and all that. This isn't fucking high school. This is fucking grown man business. Where are the fucking books?
From the beginning, literally, those guys were sleeping on my couch in San Diego, and Brad and I were, putting money in to make the first records and all that stuff, basically getting off the... But when you go through basically 15 years with somebody, people change. They just do, you know what I mean? And through the ups and downs of it, I hung in there as long as I possibly could, literally, because, what we created with... And when I say we, I don't mean just Brad and I. I mean, there were a lot of people involved. A lot of people involved. For people that worked in the building to the fans. I mean, we really built like a whole subculture around this thing. We were partners in a business together, and I managed a band, his band, and when I say it was us that created this whole movement, there really was. You're talking about people with logos tattooed on them, and what I mean? It was a huge thing, and to me, what we set out to create, it just, towards the end, it just didn't feel right. And as much as I tried to put it back on track, with, internal fighting, and, when money comes into play, things get weird. That's just the reality, you know what I mean? And for me, I've got a bad case of ADD, so I have multiple businesses, and so, anyways, long story short, when money comes into play, things get a little weird. Towards the end of the run, I just had enough, man. It was just it just didn't feel right anymore. It just
what were those main differences that you guys really ground on?
Well, one was really we owned a record label together, and I felt I was doing 99% of the work with the other bands that were signed to the label, you know what I mean?
Okay,
and I was in there, Brad probably came in the office twice a year, you know what I mean? So I was in there grinding.
So, we have now found out why the books were messed up and why it took Daddy X so long to get the books. Zinger felt that he was doing more of the work. while Daddy X felt like he was just entitled to getting the books and what was going on. So obviously, let's be real here, Kottonmouth Kings was bringing in 99% of the money. And I'm saying 99% because we know that 99% is just an arbitrary number that Zinger put out there. So it's an arbitrary number that I'm going to throw out there for how much Daddy X was doing in regards to the main band that actually needed to be taken care of, you know, and that was Zinger's job. That was his responsibility, was the things that he was doing. And Daddy X had his responsibility, which was the promoting part. And as you can see on the video, Daddy X was the one who was always promoting. So he was doing his part of the job. You know, Daddy X was the one that would go out and be the face of everything, and Zinger was the one that would sit in the back and do the computer stuff. That was their deal. And eventually, you know, Zinger thought that he was doing more of the work for something. Doesn't sound like he brought it to anybody's attention. It just sounds like he took it upon himself to start fiddling with things in the books so that things weren't being done the way Daddy X assumed they were being done. And when Daddy X asked for the books, there was nothing to be shown except when Zinger had something that he wanted to show him. He'd give him little pieces here and there.
And that wasn't even my problem. It was more of like the internal stuff within their own group, you know what I mean? It was like
they had their own drama.
Yeah, they had their own drama with each other, and you know, I was always trying to be the voice of reason and trying to show everybody else the other side's perspective, but you can only do that for so long if it's, you know, the definition of insanity, trying to do the same thing over and over again, and, you know,
getting the same result.
Yeah, expecting a different result.
Right.
So anyways, long story short, I basically just said, look, I don't want to manage the band anymore. I'm just wish everybody the best of luck and resign and blah, blah. Just, you know, we still own the label together. We're still brothers. It just doesn't make sense anymore for me to manage the band. You know, It wasn't a monetary thing because obviously, you know, the band still made money, so it wasn't. I was just walking away from it as far as me entrenched in your day-to-day life as your manager. After 15 years, it might be time.
Just try to cut the cord.
Yeah, it might be time to do something different. You know.
Yeah.
And long story.
You didn't take to it.
No, it didn't really work out too well.
But you weren't at that point. You weren't implying like business-wise.
No, not at all.
You were just saying from a professional standpoint.
Literally, it was let's get together and talk about Suburban Noise and how to move forward, because I still wanted to obviously put out Kottonmouth Kings records, and I still wanted to be involved in the Kottonmouth Kings business because, you know, I mean, I helped build it for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to deal with the daily grind minutiae of the internal dramas and all of those kind of things. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to take a step back. I was sitting in my office on, I think it was like a Thursday night at like 6 o'clock, and I was like, look, we were supposed to get together at 7 for a dinner meeting, right, to discuss how to move forward and discuss what to do. And I don't know if it was 5 or 6 o'clock, I got a email from him saying, hey, I'm not showing up to dinner, and 15 minutes later, I got a letter from a very powerful law firm threatening to sue me for every other business, including our own shared business. So, I mean, I own, you know, they went after Battle Axe, another label I own, SRH, my management company. I mean, it was basically like, and I couldn't believe it. I mean,
under what grounds? Like, what was the?
I mean, that, in America, what I've learned is you can sue anybody for anything.
You can come up with anything you want. But was there like an umbrella? Was it? He was claiming rights, or he was claiming?
It was kind of bizarre because we could never really figure that out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It drug on for quite a long time. We could never really figure out, like, what is your claim here? Like, what are you really saying? You know what I mean? Like, he obviously never showed up for the dinner. You know, I reached out, God, a dozen times, just saying like,
let's talk it out.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody who was my brother. You know what I mean? I would have done anything for him. Like he was.
Once
all
lawyers,
those guys,
your friendship's off when lawyers get involved.
Yeah, but it was weird. Like I just was like, let's just sit down, man to man. Like, what is this? Like, what, you know? And the thing is when lawyers get involved, they can really sort of spin things. You know what I mean? And I think he went so down a path that he just couldn't get off that path.
I haven't been getting the books. They've been getting little pieces of the books here and there, all here and this. I've had to hire, so I hired some lawyers to help me get the books. Still don't get the books. I want to hear where are the fucking books. It's just a distraction. It's a smoke screen.
There was no way to like sit down with me and have a real conversation at that point, because I think at some point he realized like, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
no. So that dinner, that whole thing started 3 years ago, and I know from talking to you, it all wrapped up like a matter of a few months ago, right?
Yeah, it wrapped up. Well, that was the crazy thing. It wrapped up in July of last year, but every time we would wrap it up, they would try to say, "Oh no, that's not what we wrapped up." I was like, it's in black and white. Like that was the thing. Is like, you know, you get a lawyer and you pay him $500 an hour, they'll argue that, you know, they'll argue whatever, you know. And
so in layman's terms, if I could, it's basically Brad comes to you and says, I want this, this, and this, and then obviously you're saying that's not the case, and we need to.
Well, out of principle, look, if I owe somebody $1 on the other side of the world, I'll get in a plane and go get them their $1, right? But out of principle, if you threaten me with lawsuits and lawyers and all of these things, what's right is right. You know what I mean? Like, I'll spend more money to fight you to come out on the other side right than to just like a lot of people just settle the case. You know what I mean? But that just wasn't the tack that I was willing to do. I'm not just going to give somebody money.
When you're smart enough to know that, you know, your pride's not in the way, your ego's not in the way, and what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
and was it over, you know, naming and copyright and, you know, masters? I mean, did it go, or was it just the basic black and white of what he wanted versus?
He wanted money from my businesses.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with Suburban Noise.
Nothing to do. I mean, it was very clear. We made an arrangement. We were business partners in Suburban Noise.
Right. That was it.
I owned SRH before I met him. I managed bands before I met him. I had all these things before I met him. We made a deal to put out records together as Suburban Noise. I mean, it got so stupid. I mean, he sued Madchild from Battle Axe, my partner in Battle Axe Records.
He's been over here.
Yeah. Let's just put it this way. You can sue anybody for anything in America. It doesn't mean you're going to win and come out on top. Let's just...
KOTTONMOUTH Kings on some dig-out shit. This is the city.
After the show, me and D-Loc ended up getting pretty drunk together, and I was like, yo, I want to manage your band, man. I want to manage your band. He's like, oh, you got to talk to Brad. I'm like, no, you don't know, man. I'm going to blow your shit up. This is what I've been waiting for, you know?
He loved it. He's like, dude, I want to work with this band. I'm like, are you serious, you know? Because at that point, no one wanted to work with, no one wanted to open the door, help us out. We're just pretty much doing it just on our own crazy dream, you know what I mean? At that point, he'd book us, put us on some shows here and there in our French, and he kept coming up to me, dude, I want to work with this band. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I want to manage them. I'm like, are you serious? And at that point, I wasn't really ready to have anyone else involved in the project because we're still kind of developing it, you know? And then Kevin Zinger kept staying on me, like, no, I'm serious. So I went down that meeting with him. And
so we went out to dinner that night, you know, just ended up talking, vibing out, you know. We both, like, very similar sort of, like, mindsets of where we come from and the way we think about things and stuff like that. So we clicked right off the bat.
We said, okay, let's do this thing. Well, I explained him my vision. I want to start Suburban Noise Records. I want to put out our own record. And he had SRH going down to San Diego, and he pretty much like, hey, dude, I see your vision completely. I'm trying to do my same thing. He's trying to do SRH records, and he was down for the cause, you know what I mean? And he's willing to put, like, I'll put some my own money into making this thing happen. So I'll put some money up and get you guys in the studio, and let's do this and that thing. And I said, listen, guys, I mean, we're really going to step and do this thing serious. We're going to put, me and Zinger are putting the money up to do this record. So all I'm asking you guys is your commitment to do this, you know what I mean?
No, I didn't know what to think, actually. I was like,
Yeah, right. You know, yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. I'm down. No, I'm down. I'll put 100 into it, but yeah, right.
You know, I'll pay for your Taco Bell or whatever. You guys come up and live with me in LA, and we'll just do this full time. Humble Gods, I got dropped from Hollywood, so that kind of like, I had this time period where I was just doing some clubs and I was going to focus on Cottonmouth and start Suburban Noise Records. So they pretty much moved in with me. And everyone thought I was crazy once again, you know, I mean, all my friends like, you know, dude, what are you doing? You having these kids live with you and not bringing them to the clubs and they're underage and they're getting drunk, causing problems, you know. To me, it's kind of funny because at that point I was pretty much, you know, I was already committed to do this thing full time, so.
Brad X's mind is a super mind. You don't really know about it, Daddy X's mind. His whole conception was this whole Suburban Noise thing to begin with, and he had that 10 years ago, and now it's unfolding.
I said, okay, listen, we're going to actually go in and record it. We've done the first round of demos. We're going to actually do this record. And the night before we're getting ready to go in the studio, we'd have this meeting because Richter all of a sudden was down in Orange County. He wasn't coming up to LA as much. Like, we'd be writing and Richter wasn't showing up. And then he's, you know, Richter's doing his own thing, you know, he's slinging weed and doing his thing, whatever he had to do to get by, and he wasn't really taking the group too serious. He didn't think this thing could work. Really, I think what it came down to, you know.
But I started the group with everybody. It was me, Loke, and Saint. We started it or whatever, and there was a little bit. I recorded like 17 songs with the Kings. Just some internal arguments and some other things happened and whatnot, and I just split ways.
Richter's like, dude, this guy's crazy. He wasn't ready to commit to do this thing. But D-Loc and Saint were game, you know. And we had this meeting with Richter, like, hey, dude, you got to come up and show up. We're getting in the studio. And it wound up, he was like, pretty much, it wasn't going to work at that point in time. Richter's getting in some trouble. So we wound up, okay, we're going to start this record without Richter, and we'll just do it ourselves. Me, you know, us three will do it.
You know, when Richter left, it was me and Saint for a while just on stage, you know what I mean? X kind of stepped in and we were like, yo, we want you on stage. I was like, X, you need to come on stage. It's your crazy shit, man. The Humble God shit, you know what I mean? Just the way, you know, doggy style, you know what I mean? Double freak. X was crazy back, he's still crazy, you know what I mean? Daddy X came in, wrote a bunch of his own parts, re-recorded the songs.
So we started working on the album. The night before we're supposed to go in the studio, I get the phone call, D-Loc's in jail. I think got caught for shoplifting or something. This is like, the next day we're supposed to start this record, and you know, I was trying to get them on the page, like, all right, you guys need to be focused. You want to do this, you got to be serious, cut the bullshit, you know what I mean, and let's focus and do this. It's going to take some commitment, it's going to take hard work, you know what I mean? But at that point, trying to get them to understand what it really took to do it wasn't as easy as you probably think, you know what I mean? Wound up putting up the money, bailing D-Loc out of jail.
So we started making the record and we're doing shows. All of a sudden we got contacted from Interscope Records. I knew somebody over at Interscope Records and I told them about the band. They contacted me, hey, I want to check this out. Somebody else contacted me and we want to check this thing out, right? And we just kind of took it as a joke, like, you know, who the fuck's gonna sign, you know, 3 white dudes who rap, you know? There wasn't anything to go off of, you know, so I was like, this ain't gonna ever happen.
And he's with this guy, Ian Montone. We're doing a show there, and Ben Gordon comes up to me, he's all, hey man, what's up with your group here? He's all, you guys got a record out or anything? Like, what, you guys looking to get a record deal? I said, actually, no man, we're not looking to get a record deal. We have our own label, Suburban Noise, we're just starting our own label. And so, well, can I get a tape or something like that? I said, well, no, we're not really giving out tapes. It's not like that. We're doing our own record on Suburban Noise Records. And, but if you want to come down to the studio and hear some stuff, yeah, come on down, but let you hear it, but we don't give out tapes like that. We're not letting no one hear it until it's done, you know? So, make a long story short, Ben came down to the studio. Ian became our lawyer. Zinger became our manager, my partner. And we were doing this, and all of a sudden we start getting, take meetings with Jimmy Iovine and Tom Whalley. And they set up this showcase in the Viper Room for the Cottonmouth to play for Tom Whalley and Jimmy Iovine and these guys. At first we weren't going to do it because, you know, I didn't know what the purpose was, but we wound up doing it. I just remember the guy's table getting knocked over, drinks got spilled, and he walked up and left. So we never heard from him. So we figured, oh, we fucked that one up. You know, we were kind of laughing about it.